Hi everyone, this is John. I actually took off my regular sewn foot. I'm putting on my Singer walking foot. I'm actually using my CE250 and I have to put this foot on the proper way. So let's get this foot on. And sometimes the easiest way to get these feet on is by taking the screw out completely. I'll just okay. Oops, I want to make sure that it's on there right. Tighten this up. I'm going to lower that foot down. Tighten that up nice and tight. Okay. Got that on nice and tight. Make sure my needle's all the way in the highest position. Lift my foot back up and get my two threads. And they're both there. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the green points onto the red points. And I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to hit my needle position down. That way when I get to the ends of the points, the needle will stay in the down position and I can rotate it. Put it back down. Get up to the top point. And you're going to do this all the way across. And if you're afraid that it's not going to line up good, just pin it. And that way it doesn't shift on you or anything. I'm just doing this real quick to show you how it's done. And I cut that a little bit too far right there, but if I sew it right, it will sew it closed, and it really won't matter that I cut a little bit too far. Okay, back to sewing again. And this is why I keep the needle on the down position, is that way I can pivot it with the needle being in the down position. and last one. And I'm going to try to close up that gap a little bit. And go all the way up to the top. Middle up, cut that out. Okay, now on this part of the hat, I'm going to cut the tips off all the way down to the sewing part. You can actually do them at an angle too, if you want. We just don't want all that fabric bunched up into the tip of that points of the hat. So you want to trim all these off. And the last one. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn this right side out. And the best way is if you have a pencil or maybe knit needles, take the knit needles and just poke those points right out so they're nice and pointy. And I'm going to do all of the points. And that's all the points, except for the very last two, which are part of the hat design, which we will get to that part when we sew these two together. So it forms a point in the back. Basically what you want to do is you want to line up, cut off this extra string, you want to line up the right side with the right side, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the green and we're going to sew all the way up to the point. And you can pin it if you want. I tried to open up my top and bottom so they're flat. The red's against the red and the green's against the green. And we're going to go right up to the green, hit the needle down position, a couple more stitches right to the seam, and then we're going to turn it, and we're going to go put the foot down, and we're going to go down the red. Needle up, oops, trim that, and that should be your last point right here. And with that, you want to trim off all this extra, and you want to poke that up. There's actually going to be a lot of extra on that last point, and it really doesn't matter. It's going to be on the back of the hat, and then you're going to have a bell attached to it. But that is the outside of the hat with the red, and your embroidery design will be on the front in the center right here. Like I said, if you don't want the lines and stuff, have the line side on the green. That way there's no line showing. I'm just doing this as a demonstration, so I'm not doing it as nicely as I could be done. Okay, and then the next part is sewing up the screen. Got little pieces of felt everywhere. I'll vacuum those up. Now the green is not that difficult. You just have to sew the 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to do needle down. And like I said, if you want to pin this, you can pin it. Foot up, get that belt underneath there. We're going right around the tip of it. Right down the other side. And that takes care of that. Now to sew the inside to the outside, which isn't very difficult. But first I want to turn this right side out. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to push it in with my pencil or knit needle at the very end of it. And I want to turn that right side out. So I'm going to push that needle right inside the tip and keep on pushing till you have it in there. And then once you have it in, you can just take it and pull it out. And there's your little tip that you're going to be hooking a bell to. And that's your front of your hat is this side and this is the back. So what we want to do is now this goes here, so we want to, if I can do this right, what we want to do is we want to have the green, we want to turn it where the red's on the outside and the green is facing with the green, and the back seam is with the back seam. And what you can do is you can pin this. We're going to go get some pins. And we're going to pin the seam with the seam. And then once we have the seam with the seam, what we're going to do is we're going to hold it and we're going to pull it. Because felt is a little stretchy, you can pull it. And what you're going to do is you're going to get the front and you're going to pin that. And then from the front, you're going to pull it and you're going to do the sides. And make sure that all of your seam, all your edges are lined up. And you're going to pin it in the middle of here. And then you're going to pin it in the middle of these two. And you're going to pin it between these two. You're going to do the other side the exact same way. Going to find the middle first, pull it, make sure all your edges are lined up. You're going to pull it, and you're going to do the center first. Then you're going to do in between the two pins. Like I said, I'm doing this pretty fast just to show you how it's done. And you're going to pin between these two seams. Now, since this is a round tube, I'm going to remove this and use it like it's supposed to be used. And I'm going to use my walking foot, and I am just going to sew all three layers together. And I pull out my pins as I go. And get over that first hump. And if the pins are in your way, just pull them out of the way. And that's it. Do a couple of back stitches, a couple of forward stitches. Pull it out, trim that, and now I'm going to show you how to turn it right side out and stitch it so it stays up, so the points stay standing up. Okay. So this is what we have so far, is we have the center with the red on the inside. I think I did it backwards. And I did. Okay, we have this sewn. I've sewn all the way around, all the edges. Now we're going to leave it inside out. We're not going to turn it yet. And this is the red and green part with the seam, and what we want to do on this one is turn it so the green side is out. Okay, now what we're going to do is, this is the front of the hat, this is the back of the hat, where the thing comes down is the back. So back, back, seam, back. Your embroidery will be on the front side of this. So what we want to do is we want to take this and we want to have the hat go inside of it. And we want to match up the back seam. So we're going to match up the back seam with the back of the hat seam. And leave it in the inside part, the elf part, inside out. Trust me. You want to leave it inside out. Now we're going to pin this seam, all three seams together. Make sure that all the edges are even. And we're going to pin all three of those together. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull this so it's all even, so you can find where the front portion is, which that's already marked, so that should pretty much be the front right there in the center. So pull it. We got the center. We're going to go to the front and we're going to pin the front of it. all three sections. Now once that's done, we're going to pull one side of it. And we want all of the edges to line up. And we're going to find the center on the edge. And we're going to pin that. Then we're going to find in between the two pins the center. And pin that. And same between these two pins, we're going to find the center and pin that. Now we're going to do the other side and do the exact same thing. We're going to pull it and find the center of all three layers. Make sure the edges are nice and even. And we're going to pin it. I don't pin a lot of projects, but this project, on this particular area, you're going to want to pin it so it's nice and even and you don't have bunches when you're sewing all three layers together. And you want to pin that. And I pulled off my centerpiece because it's easier to do this without the centerpiece. And I'm going to pull my threads behind. And I'm going to get that underneath the foot. And I'm going to start sewing. Pull out my first needle, and I pull out my needles as I go. And if all three bunches are a little bit, lift up on your foot a little bit until you can get over it. Once you're over it, you're fine. And just keep on going all the way around the hat. And those pins will keep your hat nice and even all the way around. To the beginning again, and I'm going to do a few back stitches and a few forward stitches, and I'm going to pull that out and cut all 4 threads. Pull out my pins. Don't need those anymore. And once the pins are pulled, what we're going to do is I'm going to take my knitting needle or pencil, and the very tip I'm going to push it in with the knitting needle, and I'm going to turn it right side out. I'm going to push that in until I get it on this side and pull that right side out, make it look really nice. And if you want to, you can get your knitting needle up in there and push that out even further. So all of it's pulled out. Now what you have is you have this sewn on, but when you flip this up, you'll have your hat with the red. Now how I fix this so the seams are nice is I do a decorative stitch. So I'm going to put this back underneath right here. And I'm going to pick a decorative stitch. And I don't have my guide. Let me go get my guide. Okay, I got my guide here. Most of them have the it looks like a Christmas light, little leaves on a thing. That's the decorative stitch I'm going to use. It's number 15 on the Futura 250. So I'm going to put that up to 15, have my needle in the center, and have the width about 4. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put down the foot and you might want to start where the seam is. I'm going to lift that foot back up. Start where the seam is. Lower that foot. And I'm just going to sew all the way around. And try to keep it nice and even. And this is a decorative stitch, so it's going to take a little bit more time to go around the hat than doing a straight stitch. Just let the machine do the work. Don't push, don't pull. Just let the decorative stitch work. And make sure that you have it nice and even. And this will help keep the points standing up. Like I said, the decorative stitch takes a little bit of time. I'm not even halfway through to the front of the hat yet. And on the front, I'm going to push that green a little bit further in because I don't want that showing. Keep on going. And you can use variegated thread, so it's different colors, or you can use any Christmas colors, bright colors, any colors that you really want. On the, you can do it all blue or all green. You can do it just about any color that you want for this decorative stitch. And it'll look nice. And we're right to the beginning again. And I'm going to stop it right there. Lift up my foot and trim those. Now if I want to put an elastic in here, what I'll do is I'll take my elastic, which I have some in here that I haven't even opened yet, and open that up. And what I'll do is I'll take probably about maybe 4 or 5 inches, and I'll stretch that out. And before I even sew this red part down, before I even flip it, I'd put this just on this green inner part. Stitch it onto that. That way you don't see it stitched on. It would actually be on the inside underneath this decorative stitch. So you actually want to put this elastic band on before you do the decorative stitch and before you flip it. You want to put it on the inner side of the green part and stretch it out to its fullest extent. That way, when it's after it's sewn, it will clinch up and it will take in about maybe about an inch, half inch. So that will give the child some extra wear. If you want longer, you can put longer in. If you want to do around the whole entire hat with elastic, you can do that. The only thing is you don't want too much pull or have it too tight on the child's head because it'll cause headaches or it might be uncomfortable. So I suggest only doing maybe like 4 or 5 inches just on the back, so it just pulls the back a little bit. That way it's not so uncomfortable. But that's basically your hat. It has a decorative stitch on it, and then you just sew the little bells on the ends of it, and there's your elf hat. And it'll have your embroidery work on it that says elf and your child's name or whoever's name you want to put on it. But that's basically the hat, and This is the third one I've done. It's my own design. As you can see, this is the one that is the pictures of with the little bells on it. And I even did a little bell on this. It's not exactly the same. If you want to make this longer, you can make it longer. You can have the inside shape any shape that you want. It's just a lot of fun, and I'm sure the kids would enjoy having one. You know, hopefully you make some and make some kids happy with them this holiday. Thank you, and thanks for watching my videos.